Hi, I'm Pioneer TV, Pat of Exile, and today I wonder, what is melee strike range? Well, okay, obviously the name indicates that it wants to extend the reach of your melee strike, but I wanted to know two important things about it. Does it increase the range at which I can start hitting, and does it lengthen the swing itself? In other words, I wanted to know how far the tip could reach and how deep it could go. Seeing as melee in the foreseeable future looks to be an incredible nightmare, any range would be extremely helpful. So, it's off to testing we went. I used my monk because I had a build there already and already had a quarterstaff. I was going to test two things, basic strike and tempest flurry. I chose these two for stronger contrast. The basic quarterstaff strike does not have a melee strike range upgrade, while Tempest Flurry is full of it. A plus 8 to all attacks except the last one, which is at plus 10, at full upgrades. Then yes, I upgraded my Tempest Flurry just for the test. I also wanted to play a Lightning Monk, but here we are. Testing process is as follows. We round up some bad guys and start swinging, and try to pay attention to what life bars light up whenever we take a swing with either ability. To make testing clearer, I also turned off all of my passives, such as Herald of Ice and Cast and Freeze, to make sure that there is visual clarity and I could really pay attention to how much range we were getting. The fact that Tempest Flurry really wants to move forward, even if you hold down Shift, it will keep moving forward no matter what, which complicates testing a little bit, so I had to tap strike with it just to see how far of a range on it was. So, without further ado, let's compare the two. First, let's check how far the strike is for both Quarterstaff Strike and Tempest Flurry. Okay, looking at the footage, clearly, I can't see shit. Like, my game feel is telling me, yes, there's a difference. There's a difference. Like, sometimes it looks like the one on the right, the Tempest Flurry, is actually hitting a bit further. But let's keep in mind, that is 8 melee strike range already, and I can barely see a difference. So maybe it's not, reach. Maybe it's depth. And just like before, I'm not sure. Sometimes it looks like Tempest Flurry is reaching a bit further. There's a spark behind the front line of attackers, and sometimes there isn't. Now, that might be enough for a conclusion because I never think that the basic Quarterstaff Strike is actually hitting further than Tempest Flurry, but that could also be my brain playing tricks on me, which is why I'm looking at the video to see and compare the two. On the other hand, it is also possible to draw a conclusion that if I have to peer real close to just see the difference at between 0 melee strike range increase and plus 8, there probably isn't enough of a difference for it to matter to a build. But that's quitter talk. My mother didn't raise a quitter, and my father didn't raise me at all. Tempest Flurry has a AoE tag, which means we can hit it with Magnified Effect, which means Magnified Effect has a shot at improving the existing melee strike range. So let's put it on and see what happens. And there it is. After equipping Magnified Effect as a support on Tempest Flurry, we can now clearly see the difference between the two abilities. So what did I learn from this? I learned that melee strike range does in fact work. It exists. I also know that without Magnified Effect, I can barely tell the difference between the two. So it might be something that scales super hard later on, but isn't really noticeable without something like Magnified Effect increasing it by like almost 50%. So instead of 8, that was closer to a 10 or 11 on the first strike of Tempest Flurry, and an easy like 14, 15 on the final strike, which is a lot of range, honestly. Let's take a look at how big that looks. So that's the full combo right on there on the screen, and it's pretty big. It is reaching like halfway across the screen, and that is not like super optimized. So let's see what happens when we optimize it. I have now taken both plus range nodes, so that's a total of plus 4. And I am using a long quarterstaff, which adds 16% for a total of 20 to 25-ish range, depending on how it's rounded up. And I gotta say, it's bigger, but it's not as like terrifying as I thought it would be. It's like it's a bit of a letdown, I'll be real with you. I don't think it's worth the extra expense to path over to the other plus 2, which is pretty far closer to the mercenary. This probably works a lot better when you factor in stuff like heralds and other bonuses to your attack and effective range. So there's that. We're here now. I just want you all to know that I was making a short and then I kept doing research until we ended up with this 5-minute nightmare. Thanks for watching. I stream on Twitch and on YouTube. Also, we have a Discord. We mostly meme. We don't really talk about Path of Exile there too. It's more of a Marvel Rivals situation right now. Link is in the description below. I'm Pioneer TV, Path of Exile. Fire is life, so let's live a little.